It's Tuesday. It's Mark Pyers. And it's Real Talk.
Down the road today, looking for another way
to ease my mind and help my living. It's Real Talk. This is the daily vlog, Mark Pyers Real Talk, here to help you make smarter moves, to amplify your current state, and I'm here on Tuesday night to just chat with you a little bit about something that came up today I wanted to share with you. Hey, Joy. Joy's on with us. I love when we get a crowd right from the beginning because then we could just really get rolling with the energy. And my man Justin Bush is on. Okay, Justin, I got to tell you, my friend, my son played his first playoff game, pitched 4 innings, and we were up 3-1 going into the 4th inning, and I had to take him out. He had 85 pitches, and he was just shutting them down. And we just, the second guy who came in just let up like 12 runs and we lost. But it was pretty cool. And it's one of the greatest experiences of my life to be able to be there coaching my son and watch him on the mound. And just reminds me a lot of when Justin and I used to play. And so anyway, I wanted to share with you guys a little something. Oh, dude, his leg kick is different than mine. You got to see this kid, JB. He actually brings the ball back. Like, I remember I used to bring the ball back from you know, the nethers. And this kid does the same thing, but he's lefty. And, you know, it's like he does this Matsuyama thing where he brings his head, okay, here's something cool Justin remembers. I used to do some crazy things when I pitched. I used to try to get into the mind of the batter. I didn't look at the plate. I'd turn my back completely. I'd bring my knee up over my head. So I couldn't even see the plate anyway, but I bring it up that high, and then I would just rifle that ball down the middle. Or I just knew where to throw the ball. Felt right. Now, Oliver, when this kid grabs the ball, and he comes from the same feeling, but he's lefty, and it's just the coolest thing in the world to watch him throw the ball. It's just the coolest thing. Oh, man, and you got to see. So he's doing this thing now where he's turning as well when he gets into it, but he's 10. So I told him I don't want him taking his eye off the plate yet. He's got to get into that because when Justin and I were in 11, 12, and we went forward, at that point, it was just like on. We just felt it. You know, the game comes to you. And, you know, I got one of these days, I got to show a clip of this kid. Just the way he throws the ball. It's just like, it's so inspiring. I get pumped when I see it. But he does this thing. And it's like he's getting into the mind of the batter where he starts going backwards into his pitch and he brings his hands over his head like this, like the Matsuyama guy from the Yankees. And he just stares at the batter for like 3 seconds before he goes into the rest of his windup. And it's just the coolest thing in the world to see this 10-year-old just like staring down these big kids, these batters. And he's controlling the time. You know, the thing I try to explain to these guys on the mound is that is the most amazing place to be. To be standing on the mound, delivering a pitch at a batter, and having a field of players backing you up. That is your time. Don't rush through it. Like, I'll see these kids and they're just like, I'm like, guys, enjoy it. Do you know how quick it's over? You know how badly JB and I would love to get on the field again and play some baseball? How much I'd love to throw a knuckleball again at people and just see if I could strike somebody out. I want to get out there and do that. Still, like, to this day, the love for the game of baseball for me is just so strong. And to see my son gravitating to it is amazing. And you know what? My wife and I are very clear about not forcing. You know, look, I remember as a kid too, my parents didn't push us on these things. Say, oh, you got to go and do this, and you got these camps and go this, and then you have all this additional. No, we played the game. We enjoy our summer. We go back next spring and we play again. And, you know, that's what we want. We want the kids to enjoy the game. I don't want them to get burned out. You know, I think that's a big thing where people just push them so hard and eventually they just have no interest in it anymore. And that's not what I want. I want him to find his way, enjoy it. And, you know, it's a real pleasure watching him, though. So anyway, I went sidetrack. I tandemed on here because Justin's on. But I was going to share something with you guys today. As a real estate agent, I have to deal with the ups and downs with clients. Sometimes they get the property, sometimes they don't. And I truly believe if you don't get a property, it's because there is a better one on deck. And you really just have to try to trust that. The universe wants you to have something specific. That wasn't the one. Even though you thought it was amazing, there is something still that you haven't seen, or something that's coming to market that will be even better. And so a couple weeks ago, I had a client, we go out to see a property. She falls in love with it, and I thought it was perfect for her. And somebody else beat us to the punch. Offer comes in before that they accept. So now I'm saying to myself, you know what? If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And if it is meant to be, it will come back to you. But let's keep going. We're going to soldier on. We're going to keep looking. We're going to find that property for you, because the other thought is, if this isn't it, somebody else gets it, there's still your property out there. We got to keep going. So we're going. And sometimes I get these feelings. It's an intuition. And I just felt like we may hear something on this property. It was such a great fit for her. I felt like it was hers. It was meant to be hers. And so basically I get a call like 2 days ago from the agent. And he says, you know what? It didn't work out, and we want to work with your client. So the point is, we spent about 2 weeks really upset that this property didn't come together. And the whole time I kept saying, look, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it will come back to you. And I have this philosophy. I think I told you guys this before. You should talk about things once and then move on to something else. I mean, life is short. Learn everything you can about lots of subjects. Have conversations about things, get an understanding on them, try to put them aside. And I think that's very important for us all to keep in mind. But when it comes to something like a property that you don't get, or somebody else winds up outbidding you for, I think it's important for you to understand that, a couple things. You want to make sure you gave your best shot. I've seen a few people put offers in and they held something back. They were like, I'm going to put it here and I'll have a little left in the tank just in case. Now, my philosophy is go in with your best offer, one offer. This is it. Look, I want to do a deal with you. I love the house. This is all I'm willing to pay for it. Can we do a deal? I get more deals together that way than you'd be, look, I have a lot of agents coming at me when they want to put deals together, and they're bashing my listings. They're bashing the quality of the house or something. And it's a very weird thing to me that that's how some people approach real estate, because I don't think you should ever try to disparage somebody's property that you're trying to buy. Why would you say, look, I want to try to buy your property, but it's terrible. Ugh. I got to fix this. I got to fix that. And that's why I'm hitting you with this number. It's not I don't get that mentality. I don't know why you would hit somebody like that. When you love it, just be honest. We love it. We love it. Unfortunately, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. So this is all I can do. Can we put a deal together? Can we make this happen? Because I love it. You see the different approaches there? I'm here to help you get something done. Can we put this together? Or you're this place. Look at the siding, the kitchen. Two completely different approaches, positive and negative. I just think it's better to talk to people and tell them what you really want. I really love this house. My client wants this house, but this is all she's willing to pay. This is what she can afford to pay for this house. Do a deal. That's the way to do deals. That's the way both parties get the deal that they need to get. Remember, the best deals in life happen when both parties are giving something. Everybody always wants to get the better side of the stick, but really the best ones, both parties give something. So anyway, guys, I am going to probably call it a night. I've got a lot to do still. Got some GigBox we got some more GigBoxes to build, because on the 21st, I will be playing in Fairfield at the gazebo, and they've asked us to do a drum circle with GigBoxes. How cool is that? For National Make Music Day. So I'm very excited to get the Mark Pyers on the GigBox show. That's going to be pretty sweet at Fairfield Gazebo. Denise, you got to come up. Fairfield Gazebo. I think it's 3 to 4 p.m. on the 21st on the GigBox. And I'm actually going to head over to GigBox Star, to my other channel right now. And I'm going to put the camera down on the GigBox, because we have to do some demo work on the GigBox. think the overwhelming response from the drummers out there and percussionists are, I want to see the drum more. I want to see hands playing on the drum, not guitar and playing. But I'm still impressed with the fact that I could kick this while I play my guitar and make it sound like a band. But we'll do a couple things. What I'm gonna do is track out a couple of my tunes. Like I'll put Something to Live For back on, and I'm gonna just rock out the GigBox along with it, so you can hear how much music you can incorporate into a song on the GigBox. So I'm gonna head over there in a minute, and this is the way it always goes, guys. We start to wrap it up, and then we get a group of people on. And I always have a hard time closing it down when people are on. So we're gonna have to figure this out. I may have to stay on for another minute here. So, I mean, I guess we're getting into the summer months. We're almost halfway through the year. We're at day 155. We're almost there. It's about another 15 days, right? 15 days or so. Michael, what's up, buddy? Appreciate you being on. I miss you, bud. You know, I had to leave and I had to create the Real Talk team. And that's what's happening over at Berkshire Hathaway right now, is we're in the process of completing my studio / office at the back, where we will be doing Real Talk during the day. This is not just going to be a 10 o'clock at night thing, all right? It has to be all the time. And sometimes it's going to be midday with my clients or with my other team members, Real Talking them. And getting them in the know, letting them just understand how they have to handle real estate, how they handle the client, how they handle the transaction. And it's the same way I handle Real Talk. So at the end of the day, you're just going to have 4 or 5 of me out there. I'm very excited about that. Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm really excited about it. It's a very it's an interesting experience when you finally get to the point where you see something that you didn't see before. And I often talk about how it's a difficult thing to get up and go when you like the people that you work with and you like the firm that you're working with. Like I really loved Coldwell Banker. I really loved my manager, loved the people at my office, but I couldn't grow there. I couldn't grow. They wouldn't allow me to start this team I wanted over the years. And eventually it got to the point where when we started doing Real Talk here, and you guys went from 30 followers up to, I think we're at about 1,800, something like that. But when you guys jumped and started sharing this content, and I started thinking to myself, okay, wait a second. Real estate's flat like this for me, like it is. Like I'll have ups and downs. It's a tough real estate market where I am. And there's not enough business for me to just be going like this, like Real Talk is going, right? So I started saying to myself at the end of the year last year, I said, well, what did I do different in 18 from 17? Because in 17, I had a great year. 18 was like, I had a lot of deals fall apart. And I got to the end of the year, I was like, guys, I got to go back and do some video again. That was what I always loved doing. I used to do these walkthroughs of my properties. And that was what I needed to get back to. And when I sat down for the very first Real Talk, which was not called Real Talk, I don't know what it was called. It was just me coming on saying, hey, my name is Mark Pyers. I'm a real estate agent. And hey, when you need to buy something, give me a call. And then I think I did one about, I have the largest referral network in the planet. And if you want to buy something anywhere, I challenge you to find a better agent than I can for you. And I will go out there and you go and find someone, go interview 2 people and let me find someone from my firm. Let me do the work, find you someone to interview. And if you don't like my person, you go with your person. It's that simple. Cost you nothing. Give me an opportunity to find you someone better. So that was a Real Talk at the beginning. And then I started realizing that, it's not about telling people what I can do. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what I did in the past. And that's what I also get back to now with my philosophy on real estate agents in general. In general, we go out and where is my, I think I had one over here. No, I don't know where it went. You go out and you have a card. Here's my business card. Here you go. Look at me. I got a photo in the corner. Ooh. Oh, look, I was President's Circle last year. Ooh. top 3.5% in the country of NRT. Like I eclipsed a lot of things. You know what it means? Nothing. It means nothing, because the moment you complete that, you have to start all over and you have to prove yourself all over again. Okay? This is not the type of business and the type of world that just because I had a good year last year, that means I'm going to have a good year this year. That means that the people that I worked with last year are going to go out and tell the next souls that they meet at a cocktail party that they have a good realtor for them. None of these things are guaranteed. In fact, most times it's the opposite. People don't think about us. I can tell you factually that some of the people that I worked closest with, became the closest with, are probably still friends with to this day. Because I'm friends with mostly every single person I've ever worked with. I'm still there in my phone and we're still friends. I get along. I want to get along with the planet, guys. You know, I'm here to connect with this world. And so when I work with someone, they become my friend. But in general, I would say you'd be surprised that the people you would not expect to get referrals from, you get tons of referrals from. And the people you would expect to get referrals from, you get zero from. It's a very interesting thing. I don't understand it, but it just seems to be the way it is. And, this is the reason why Real Talk exists. It started that way. I wanted to just get more business. And then I started realizing, guys, I need to help the people in my business. So that's why I'll start telling you the great things that I do with clients and how I get sellers to reduce their prices and how you explain to them your value. That is something that most real estate agents have a very hard time explaining. They have a very hard time explaining their value. Why are you worth what you ask? And why is that guy willing to do it for less? And more importantly, when they find out that that guy will do it for less, how do I wind up with the listing at full commission? These are things I've given away. I've shared all these secrets. And one of the things I want to share with you, one of my new team members, because I'm going to be, my first Real Talk team member will most likely be joining next month. And when I sat down with him the other day, he said, I've been watching your show. And what I think I like about it, because he was a client of mine. I want to work with people that I know, I trust, and I know are going to go out there and work like I work and give people what they need, the truth. And this guy I know. Every time I've met him in the past, every time we got together, I always enjoyed our conversations, his company. And at the closing table, when they sold their house 6 months ago, and he jokingly said, I'm not loving what I'm doing. I may get my real estate license. My heart sunk when I thought, okay, I've done two deals with my buddy here, and now he's going to go become a realtor. And that it's amazing when I tell you guys my favorite quote of all time, Dr. Wayne Dyer, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. What started as a heart falling down into my stomach because this is a client of mine, I don't want to lose that client, to them being a licensed realtor, changed when my new manager came and started explaining what I was already seeing but didn't understand yet, the vision that I had already seen. And we started putting it together. You need to have people around you. You can't do this all alone. How do you grow? How do you grow what you're doing? When you're growing from 30 followers to 1,800 plus followers in 154 days or less, how do you sustain when all those people start sending you their business? How do you handle it all when you only have 24 hours in a day? Well, the simple answer is you can't. You got to find people that you could train to act like you, talk like you, go out in front of a client and just play. They have to understand what that client needs. Every client needs one thing. They need to understand what the market is truly saying, and they need to be told that truth. I can't tell you the amount of people that want me to tell them something different than I tell them. They want me to lie to them. They want me to tell them their property's worth more than it's worth. And that's why I say you have to be very careful that it's never your price. It has never been my price ever in 12 years. It's the market's price. It's the market's price. I don't control anything. I know a lot of people say, oh, that's going to trade at. What do you know? Sometimes it does. You know what? You could look at comps and get a good idea of where something's going to trade. But nobody knows the deal that's going to take place. Nobody knows what the terms are. Nobody knows if it's something that's going to act quick, that's why they're taking less. Or if they really needed more time, so that buyer was willing to give them more time, but for a lesser amount. You don't know what a situation is. What I can tell you is if you listen to the market, you listen to your professional, and you don't listen to this crazy mind of yours, you'll wind up doing very well. You'll do very well. Because I'm not sure if Denise is still on, but if you find someone who knows the business and understands that the only way to move property in Fairfield County right now is to be the most attractive house on the shelf. Okay? That's it. It's very simple. Everybody else wants to still, they want to place these cushions. They want to have these cushions on their offer. You know what? Let's save some. Let's put it like really high, and then we could always come down. The offer price that you put out to the market is telling them something. It's telling them how motivated you are and if you're motivated. Now, when I have buyers out, which I have some buyers out right now, and when they look at the entire market in a price point and they see how vast the quality is, let's just pick a range, say like $600,000 to $700,000 in Stamford, Connecticut. Okay. If you were to look in Stamford, Connecticut right now, because I do have a client looking in that range, and you look at properties that are listed at $699, and then you look at properties at $625, $650, and then you look at the property that my client ends up with in the low sixes, and you put it next to the properties that were up at $7, it's mind blowing that these sellers don't understand. You can't fool a buyer. You can't fool a market, because we looked at it all. And when we saw the one that my client's ending up with, it was clear as day. It was the best value in the market. The best. And I easily could have seen that listed at $700,000 or $750,000. It's that nice. And what do you think happened with that property? Remember, we lost it first. We put our offer in, and it didn't come to fruition because somebody else beat us to the punch. That thing just hit the market. And when I hear sellers out there saying, we can't sell anything. Yes, you can. Just put the right number on it. Stop putting numbers that aren't going to happen on your house. It's just, you're doing yourself a disservice. And it's tough because, we all have clients that just want these figures they can't get. They're hoping. And, remember, one of the things that my manager used to say, I always say to every one of my clients, my old manager, is hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. You need to come up with a real game plan. And the only way to do that is to look at the actual market. Could you believe someone actually said this to me before? Our house doesn't subscribe to the comps. Someone said that to me before. Someone said, my house does not subscribe to the comps. And I just laughed because I was on the phone with them trying to tell them I had a $2.1 million offer in their hands. And I told them from the beginning that where the market was saying their house was worth, which is $1,950. I mean, I showed them the comps. Guys, look at the comps. Your house right now, if you were to trade on the market, is $1,950. And this was a totally off-market thing. And that's why I was able to push these people up. I often think if you have something that's a really interesting property and you allow me to just kind of spread the word around to the people that are out there and it's done correctly, sometimes you'll get more money than you ever will when you go to market. And this was a situation that worked out. Someone came to see my property and they didn't get the property because I actually sold it to somebody else. And I said, you know what, but I have something else that I think you may like. And this is all fluke. And this is how crazy fluke it is. The house I'm talking to this person about is somebody else who had come to the same house. And I knew this person for years. And they said, yeah, we're thinking of selling. Our house is around $2.3 million. And when this person couldn't get this property, I thought of that person who walked in as well. And I said, you know what? Maybe I can make some magic happen here. So I call this other walk-in from the same property. I said, hey, I think her name was Jen. Hey, Jen, crazy scenario. Someone came into the same house and they also loved it. And I told them about your house and that you may be thinking about selling. Would you ever consider doing like a one-day listing? Let me bring this one person through because they have their own agent. So it's not my buyer. They have their own agent. So I need to represent you so I can get a commission from the list side. Sure, we'll do a one-day listing. So I get this whole thing to happen just based on these intuitions, okay, that I put together and made one cohesive thought. I put the showing together. I get a second showing together. I get them from like 2 million or whatever up to $2.1 million. And when I went to them with the offer, the husband said to me, I said, your comps are saying 1,950 right now, and you could walk away with 2.1. And he said, well, our house does not subscribe to the comps. And I said, excuse me, can you explain what that means? He said, well, our house is nicer than all the comps. And just because there's one less bedroom or it was one less bathroom, just because there's one less bathroom, it's not going to play the same as the other comps that we've seen because our house is nicer. I said, your house is nice. That's not a response when someone takes the solds and they put them up against your 4,400 square foot house with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Long story short, they also, another kick in the chin. Listen to this one. And if Michael, you're still on, you'll appreciate this one. So the response to the 2-1 offer, 2-1 was, we'll do it for 2-3. And you realtors have to take 1 point less. You have to split a half a point less. We're going to cut you down on your commission as well. And I was like, wait a second, hold on a second. I called you out of the blue and brought you a potential transaction. Okay. You signed paperwork that you'd pay us a full commission. And then after I bring you an offer of $2.1 million, you try to cut my commission. So long story short, that deal didn't come together. Okay. And it's a shame because they should have listened to the market. They eventually didn't call me. They listed the house with some other person. I don't even remember. I forget who it was. And then they listed it with another person, then with another person. About a year and a half, 2 years later, that property sold for guess how much? $1,950. $1,950. A year and a half later. They carried that property for a year and a half. They paid the mortgage for a year and a half. They paid the bills for a year and a half. And then they got the same number I told them a year and a half before. The market told you $1,950. Oh, well, our house doesn't subscribe to the comps. It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing when people don't listen to the advice that the market is speaking to them. We could only guide them. They have to be willing to listen and willing to take the advice. But something also that was a pretty common phrase within our office when I worked at Coldwell for 9 years was, and this is something Dave used to say as well, is very smart people make very poor real estate decisions. And it's an interesting point because people do overthink and they make decisions that are going to wind up hurting them in the long run. And I'll tell you the other reason why deals fall apart, a lot of deals, because typically a buyer will freak out about something that should not be a consideration at all. I'll give you a good example. I think I said this the other day. During an inspection, there's something called aluminum. There's like aluminum wiring that they have, like the casing is aluminum. I forget what they call this. And there's 2 houses in a row where the same inspector was talking about this aluminum wire. Oh, we got to get that aluminum wiring. Because aluminum is a softer metal and it could actually heat up and it could start a fire. And it's a safety concern now. So we need to get rid of that. That has to come out. You got to get rid of that aluminum wiring. It's got to come out. Okay, so wait a second. This is where I got to on the last inspection. Can I ask you a question, sir? Sure, go ahead, shoot. That aluminum wiring you're talking about, is that something they just put in? Or was that put in when this house was built? No, it was put in when this house was built. And when was that built? 1954. So this house has been here for 75 years, 65 years, 75 years, whatever it is, with the same wiring. And now because you came in here today, we have to freak out and we have to kill a deal over 4 wires that have been there for 70 years. And this is the problem with the way inspectors share information. They should really be very clear and say, look, I have to talk to you about a lot of things that you never would fix if you lived in that house. And there's an inspector I use all the time that I love that. That's one of his lines. He has minor, major, and catastrophic damage. And the minor damage or minor repairs, he'd say items you would walk by if you lived in the house and not fix. Is that not amazing? Items you would walk by if you lived in that house and not fix. Those are the items that he talks about as minor items. He has to tell you about them. But you wouldn't even fix those things if you lived in the house. I love it, and that's why I recommend him to everybody. I think it's very important for you to be a non-alarmist. With everything in life, there's a solution. I spent 12 years, 13 years renovating and building homes with my father's construction company. So I am aware of that when it comes to homes, that there is literally a solution to everything. And as long as you stay calm, and as long as you're, willing to call a professional in, you could always find a solution. And if the seller or the buyer you just need to figure out what you're looking at and just stay calm. Everything in life's about staying calm. So guys, this is a lot. I was going to stop this about 30 minutes ago. And it just kept going. You know what I'll do, because I think Michael's still on? I'll play you guys a little something before we go. All right, on the GigBox. And then I'm going over to GigBox Star to play just for a couple minutes. You're going to get more like feet. Going to be rocking out that way. I'm going to play like an instrumental, okay?
Won't you find me? I'll be hiding around. We're playing lost and found. Can you hear the sound of my voice? Yeah. Voices, the voices singing out, yeah. We're singing out, and I know it hold me to rise and become. It keeps happening over and over and over and over again. We keep coming on to the end. I'm just looking for you to gather my friends. Are you listening? Are you listening loud and clear? Echoing loud. Making music a real talk. Hear my voice. You have a choice. What you want to see and hear. But I just have some positivity for you. Take into your day. Hear my voice. As I'm singing out loud to you. Gonna find a way. Gonna find a way to come together in peace. Right here on Real Talk. flowers growing. It's burning, it's going right. And my life is being warmed by your ever bright light. So close it down. Made another song. Another improvised song for a lucky few. Cause when you see something real come out of you, something special, and I am so thankful to you. Cause you inspire me too.
Guys, are you kidding me? Wow, that's the second improv song in a week. And I think there was some pretty good stuff there. I don't know. That was another one where I just let it go. I love when that happens, when you just let the words come out of you. You just let whatever's going to come out of you come out of you. You don't control it. You have no control over it. And if you try to control it, that's when it gets bad. Let me say hello to everybody. Oh, Miss Porter's on. And Fami, thank you so much for being on. Matthias, what's up, buddy? And Meredith is on. Hopefully she's still on and she got to see that performance, because I'll tell you what, that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done there. Oh, let's see. And then Cassandra's was on. I'm not sure if she's still here. And Joy. You guys are my people. I got to tell you. It's all because of you that stuff like that happens. And that was pretty special. Now, that was interesting because what I did was I took... Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, Michael. I took one of my songs there, which is I Adore You, and I took the first chord, and then I just let that thing occur, whatever that was. I was just taking... I mean, this is the chord. That's pretty cool. But this is the way the actual song goes too. Hey, Mark, brother. Oh, Mark, you just missed probably, just like last week, I improvised another song just now. And that was the chord progression. It was just this. Mark came on too late to hear the song. But I gotta rewind to hear the replay. Dude, it was totally sweet. That was basically it. But it derives from my original song, I Adore You, which goes like this. Stand on the ground, dancing around. It's kind of a similar vibe, you know what I mean? But that was pretty rocking, guys. I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch that one back and maybe write another song. You know, I used to write about 2 songs a week. Think about it. They wouldn't all become songs, but I would just like come up with 2 new rhythms a week, and I'd be like, that could be something. And I'd get around, or actually, I'm sorry, it's two a month. And that became actually a real thing. So I wrote roughly 120 songs, and I performed for 10 years before, and the last 20 came over the last 10 years when I was not really performing anymore. And that was like 2 a year. So that's kind of a sad thing. I wasn't writing a lot in the last 10 years. But since we got back on the GigBox, that's what we, say they get back on the horse? I got back on the GigBox. You know what's crazy about that is when I invented this, I said it, and I always say it's designed like a horse. It's wider at the back, more narrow at the front. And I just said, get back on the horse, get back on the GigBox. It's totally sweet. So now I've been writing like mad. And when we got the message to the world, which was like, you guys remember that one? And when I let my words flow like pouring rain, like raindrops falling down, and I'm praying that you'll hear my words. You know, that was like the song we created that first time, and then we went to what was the one we made the other day that was totally sweet too? Whatever it is. Oh, this was this one. You guys remember this one? Oh, I went over this last night. You may have heard this on the clip that I posted earlier. But I came up with this one in real time the other night. Remember that one? It wasn't funky like that, but let's play something funky like that. How about that? I got a tune for you guys. You'll like this one. Ooh. So I wrote this one about 2006. This is funny. I wrote this song 2005, 2006, somewhere in that range. And I was looking I needed one or two more songs for my album. And I remember we were trying to figure out what to put on the album. And I have so much older material that I wish I'd gone to instead of trying to write two more songs. Like, what was I thinking? Like, that's the problem with being a singer-songwriter. When an engineer says, we need two more songs, you don't say, okay, well, let me look back through my reservoir of music, the 100+ songs I have. Let me write two more songs for this album. So this is one of them I wrote. It's called She's Holding Out. The world don't know, everyone soon will know. She got some nerve, she's holding out on me. She'll tell you different, but she's holding out on me. She's holding out on me. My lady keeps telling me one thing, the facts keep implying another. My thoughts give a fan to the fire, and I feel like you're blowing out this flame. She's holding out on me. Tied up my blues, she's holding out on me. Gave her the world, she turned her back on me. Top story in news, she's holding out on me. She's holding out on me. She's holding out on me.
Life keeps throwing me curveballs, long legs and sweet lips to cross my eyes. Thoughts give a fan to the fire, but I feel like you're blowing out this flame. Whoa, she's holding out on me. Gave her the world, she turned her back on me. Top story and news, she turned her back on me. She's holding out on me. She's holding out on me. She's holding out. She's holding out. She's holding out. She's holding out on me. 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 Gave her the world, turn her back on me.
All right, guys, I keep getting phone calls in, which means I'm probably being way too loud. I got kids trying to sleep upstairs, and I'm playing like crazy. She's holding out on me. And it's a great song to play, but when I start getting really loud, it's got to be when the kids are not asleep that I do that. But that song is rocking, isn't it? And so let me wrap this and just see if everything's okay. Maybe the kids woke up. And if they did, I'm going to have to take a couple minutes to get them back to sleep. And then I'm going over to GigBox Star. Okay, from here, I'm going over to GigBox Star. I'm setting the camera down by the GigBox, and we're going to rock some music through so you can see some of the GigBox in action, which seems to be what people really want to see instead of this guy. They want to see the GigBox. So we're going over to the GigBox Star channel. If you don't follow there yet, go over and follow, and I'll be over there shortly live, okay? Thank you guys so much for being on. As always, you're amazing. Rose, thanks for coming on here late. That's so cool. I hope you enjoyed a little She's Holding Out on Me. And please go back about 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, we improvised a new song. And I can't wait to check it out. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. I'm going over to the GigBox Star page shortly, as soon as I make sure the kids are still asleep. Hope they are. Hope I didn't wake them up. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next Real Talk. I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's Mark Byers, and it's Real Talk.
I was walking down the road today, looking for another